I'm Selina and I'm on a mission to see all the birds of Berlin in 2026. This is my Berlin big year. I'm traveling all around the city and the state, recording every species I find along the way, and this is how the first 2 weeks went. I should warn you, the first couple of birds are not super rare and exciting, but if you just stick around, I promise it's going to be a lot more interesting. It started at home. The first day of the year, I looked out the window and there I saw my bird number 1. A hooded crow fighting to stay upright in the wind. Shortly after, it was joined by a wood-pigeon. Great, 2 birds down. But that's not enough, so I headed to Volkspark Friedrichshain. Here I picked up great tits, blue tits, nuthatch, and a frightened moorhen. As I went further into the park, I also got a Goldcrest and a short-toed Treecreeper running up and down the trunks. And after spending some time with these silly squirrels, I also saw a wren. The next day the weather was really rough, so I stayed inside. But birding still happened, because as I glanced out the window, I suddenly saw a green woodpecker landing in a tree in the neighbor's yard. Very cool. Next day I visited a cemetery in Friedrichshain called St. Petri Luisenstadt Friedhof, and here I got my very first jay. And then I heard this sound, and sure enough, a great spotted woodpecker. At the same time I also got my first blackbirds and my first group of goldfinches. I went to Mühlendammschleuse, which is on the river in the middle of the city. Here I got a lot of tufted ducks, 2 majestic mute swans. There was this mallard fighting to get up on the ice. Rock pigeons, a flock of house sparrows, this cute little grebe swimming by, and a lot of black-headed gulls. And next up was Treptower Park, one of my favorite spots for birdwatching. The river was frozen, so no duck close-up as I had hoped for, but I still got redwings, my first magpie, a robin, and a group of greenfinches. On the weekend I went with some fellow birders to the most western part of Berlin, Havel on the other side of Grunewald, and here we first got a nice flock of Smews. This is one of my favorite birds, just look at that black and white pattern on the male. We also had great crested grebe and a lot of common Mergansers, but the most exciting bird of that day was this velvet scoter, because that's not one you see very often in Berlin. Back in the city, Anita Berber Park gave me my first long-tailed tit and my first hawfinch. And finally I went to a cemetery in the south of Berlin, and here I saw my first long-eared owls. And that's it for the first 2 weeks of my Berlin big year. 32 species. I'm sharing daily updates on my big year over on Instagram, so feel free to follow along there. Thanks for watching and see you next time.